up, everybody? It's me, Joey P, Joe Pizzapia, and welcome to Fantasy Pros, where fantasy sports lives. It is myself, it is Dan Harris, and it's you, and it's mock draft time. That's right, it's mock draft 4.0, bigger, faster, better, and this time we're gonna get a little highbrow. So we're gonna kick it up a notch because no batting average and wins. We're gonna go with OBP today and a little quality start. This is the thinking man's draft, and despite all that, we've brought in one of my favorite people, Dan Strafford, to join us today. But before we bring in one Dan, let's talk to OG Dan here at Fantasy Pros, the EIC. Dan Harris, you are a little under the weather today, but you are soldiering on because no mock will not be done here without Dan Harris. You have to be here. It is kind of, I think it's in your contract, I'm pretty sure, but I'm glad you're here despite the sniffles and everything else that you're dealing with today.
I don't like to throw around the word hero loosely, but I think it's appropriate for my effort in coming on this podcast today and recording this mock draft and probably dominating it. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that the name of the draft is Harris Rules. And obviously I got to name it. So I'm ready to go. Hero time. Ready. Let's go.
Oh, you know what? You are right. You are an inspiration to others. They will write songs about you someday, I'm pretty sure. And I will always write songs about our guest today because he and I go way back. He is my original Dan. Okay. He is Dan 1.0. Okay. And Dan Strafford and I go way back. We went to high school together. We go way back in the podcast era together. We started a podcast together out of Dan's side room in his apartment. And he was like, taking, or should I say borrowing from his current workplace at the time, some equipment so we could record. And you know what? We then became radio partners on Sirius XM. We did many shows together there also. And it's just great because, Dan is somebody that I've known for decades now, which makes us really old.
Yeah.
And it's a little weird now because I got both the old Dan and the new Dan here together. It's like worlds colliding. But Dan Strafford, it's so great to see your face and talk to you again. How are you, my friend?
I'm with that intro. I mean, I don't know where to go, but I'm doing well. It's baseball season, so things are looking up. There are vaccinations happening. That's fantastic. There's a glimmer of hope finally, and I don't find those often. So
I was going to say the last guy who loves hope is you. I know that you're not a big fan of hope, upside, all of those things. And I was trying to explain to Dan Harris because we got the tout draft coming up this weekend, which is big, goings on here in the fantasy baseball world. Trying to explain to him what it's like playing on Roto, because he's like, I don't understand. What are you talking about? And I said, oh, you'll see. And you could tell by Dan's reaction. This is why you watch us on the YouTube channel of Fantasy Pros MLB, because Dan Strafford's reaction to on Roto is exactly what Dan Harris is going to have in a week from now.
It's fine. It's fine. But they're just, and hey, it's an honor to play in Tout Wars every year. Whatever my line is supposed to be there, like whatever I'm supposed to say. But there are improvements that could be made.
Improvements. It's like I tried to explain to him. It's like playing in 1997,
right?
So if
it's
you
like your
retro video games, like
you got the AOL CD, right? You got the AOL CD. Yeah. You plugged it in. You're hearing the modem click. And then you're putting in a bid on the wrong player because it's not listed correctly.
Yes, that's pretty much the equivalent. But there you go. That's what it's all about. So we'll talk about that a little bit next week, I'm sure, as we continue on. But today's mock is coming at you in 1 second. I just want to remind everybody we've got a Juan Soto jersey giveaway still going on. My guy, me, Joey P, president of the Juan Soto fan club. I put it out there thanks to our friends at pristineauction.com. You can go get involved in this. Just go to Fantasy Pros, and the link is fantasypros.com/MLB contest. All you have to do to enter the contest is write a glowing review of how much you love all the content here. Then you go to Apple Podcasts or CastBox. You take a screenshot of that. You go back to fantasypros.com/MLB contest. You fill out this little tiny form. You upload the screenshot. Boom. You are then entered to win a Juan Soto autographed jersey. My goodness. I mean, that could be worth millions of dollars someday, and we're giving it away for free. So what are you doing? Pause the podcast. Go do that. Come back. Okay, now you're back. Good. I'm glad you're back now. Welcome back to the show. Also, today we're going to do our mock draft as we always do using our MUD system, our multi-user draft, which is great because you know, our draft wizard, you could draft against the experts and all of the bots, as it were. But this is if you want a little human touch here. And I've got 2 Dans here, 1 mock draft. We're going to get this together here. And what's great about this is you can hang out with all your friends. You can game plan some strategies and actually run a bunch of drafts. It's super easy. It's super fun. Dan Harris, tell everybody about the tools that we got going on here besides the mud, because I know we've got our draft assistant as well, and we've got all these drafts coming up these next few weekends because this is peak season.
Yeah, this is the big time. The draft assistant is huge, and especially for someone like me who, again, you draft, you were talking about different platforms on which you can have your salary cap draft or regular draft. You can't input your rankings into all of these. And some of the rankings that you see in these platforms are bananas. So you get lost. You'll be halfway through. You'll be like, wait, that guy was still there? I completely forgot he existed. So having the draft assistant is really, really helpful because you basically can have your own rankings right there with you, and it syncs live to your draft. You will see the cheat sheet creator. That's where you can put in your own rankings, or you can get rankings from a bunch of different people, pick a couple of experts to have. I have a cheat sheet made specially for this mock draft. You will see it when we go on youtube.com/FantasyPros MLB. So that's great. We've just a million things. Okay. I've got a salary cap draft auction, whatever you want to call it, coming up in our website, coming up in our internal league that starts in like an hour and a half. So I'm going to be syncing it there to help me along the way. Just a million tools. Just go check it out. FantasyPros.com/draftwizard. You can get everything you want. That's it. That's my spiel.
That's very exciting, by the way, that you get to see Dan Harris's draft sheet. Usually you have to go to his OnlyFans in order to just see his draft sheet. It's you don't get to just see that necessarily. He's showing it to everybody for free here. So make sure you go to YouTube, Fantasy Pros MLB. And look, we're like 6 minutes into the show and the 2 of them are so embarrassed and it makes me so happy. I love this so much. And just to be clear, today's draft is going to be 1 catcher, first, third, second shortstop, middle infield corner. We're going to have the utility, the 5 outfielders, the 9 pitchers, 5 bench players, and a partridge in a pear tree. And we're going to be doing 5x5 roto with OBP instead of batting average, because I know Dan Strafford's kind of an elitist, so I want to make sure he's happy here as our guest. And then we're also going to do quality start.
Do I get to do my quality start rant, or does that have to be later?
You know what? It's been so long that it's almost new again. So why don't you do the quality start rant? Go ahead.
Well, it's just, I've said it so many times to Joe, Dan. It's just the idea that a 4.50 ERA and 6, like, that's not quality. Like that,
yeah,
your team's losing most likely. So that's just,
everyone who participates in this mock today is going to get a trophy. I just want you to
know. All right, I'm starting it. I'm starting it. Let's go. All right. Now I want to see what happens here.
So Dan Harris is randomizing the draft order. Beep, bop, boop, bop, boop, bop, beep, bop, beep. It's doing its thing. And then it's going to give us where we are in this mock. It's a 12-team mock. Oh my God, Dan Strafford is the guest, is the 1. I am the 2. Dan Harris, I can't even see you. Where are you, buddy?
I'm the 8. I'm the 8, which is fine. I don't care what I like picking late in the draft for sure. You know that. I don't like the 101. It's not my jam. I don't like the 102. So I'm happy.
All right. Well, you're kicking things off here. Dan Strafford, the entire board is yours. Try not to screw it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to not go with one of the stars here. Like, you're not screwing up in the first 5 picks. I don't think.
Well, that's probably true. And anybody who knows me knows I love me some Juan Soto. So once again, I'm going to stay on brand. Now, look, I think you can make the good case for Mookie Betts here at 2. You could make the case for Fernando Tatis as well. In fact, I think all 4 of those guys you could make a case for as 1, even Trout also. But, you know, with the OBP being part of this league too, I'm actually going to find some stolen bases later, and I'm going to go with Juan Soto here because I think he's going to get walked a ton this year. So, again, no wrong answers here, just good players. Possibly the deepest first round we've had in quite some time.
Sure feels
but Dan Harris is the 8 spot, which our friend Scott Bogman last week said this is where he loves to draft because he feels like he's basically guaranteed one of these guys. And look, you've got Shane Bieber, Trey Turner, and Christian Yelich all on the board for you, Harris.
Yeah, I am taking Turner. By the way, you can see if you're watching on youtube.com/FantasyPros MLB, you can see my cheat sheet, which is named Hey-O, which is just special for this one. I never get to say it. I am taking Turner. He is my 8th player on my board. Again, the steals, I'm a little worried about the steals, like a little bit, just that they're not going to be quite what we want because he may not bat leadoff. Our boy, Victor Robles, apparently may bat leadoff. I'm a little worried about how much he will run there. All right. So now it comes back to me, and, you know, this is where I get a little caught because I do love Bryce Harper. this year. Absolutely love him.
OBP
OBP league, it's kind of hard really to not go with him there. I would love Darvish to get my first pitcher. I don't really like getting out of here, but whatever. I'm going to take Harper in an OBP league. Forget it. I love him. He's second on, he's tops on my board, so one spot ahead of Darvish. So I'm starting with Trey Turner and Bryce Harper from the 8th spot.
All right, let's see what happens here, because every time you do this and then it comes back to you for pitchers, you complain.
That is true. But I just complain no matter what. That's sort of my thing.
Is also
That's the Dan Harris thing. So
and I can't believe I've got both of you here. So this is going to be an amazing thing here. You know, I typically will go with the pocket aces here, and I'm just going to keep staying on brand. As much as I like to take Bregman here, and I'm very tempted to do so, I think I'm going to go take the pitchers because I just don't like how it drains out this pitcher pool. I will take Aaron Nola for the strikeouts. We'll go there. Again, it's quality starts, not wins, so I don't have to worry about that bullpen destroying Aaron Nola, and that actually makes it a little bit more palatable. This change in format for me, because it's quality starts, not wins, Aaron Nola becomes more appealing because I do not trust what they've done in the offseason to better this Phillies bullpen. I still think it stinks. And that puts you on the clock, Dan Stratford, for not one, but 2 picks.
Yeah, I'll take Bregman. OBP league. He doesn't strike out a ton, does a lot of the small things that end up showing in 5x5 and points leagues to be such a quality guy to have. I would have loved Nola there. Like that's probably that last piece for me in the pitching tiers. But you can get a little bit crazy with Max Scherzer here. I probably won't this year. The age does bother me. I'm going to go Corey Seager here as my next pick. I know Seager's been that sort of question mark in the top 30, 35 for some down years. He's still only 27. And like, I'm not a big spring training guy, but he seems right. Like we're seeing the things that point to what I think will be a big year.
All right. Once again, not in love with the bullpen, but I love this pitcher. Max Scherzer, I understand it's telling me that's the pick, the way to go, but I'm going to go with Luis Castillo instead. This is what I like to do up at the top. I like to get my number 1 hitter. I like to take the 2 pitchers because the cliff is real. And if you're in a 15 or 16 team league, let me tell you, it's even worse. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to take Luis Castillo. I've got Soto. I got Nola. I got Castillo. Now I'm going to approach my offense. Dan Harris is going to have to take a starter probably here, but I don't want to speak for him. I will let him speak for himself.
You're not the boss of me. All right.
Exactly.
Whatever, man.
You are technically the boss of me.
That's right. Actually, I am technically the boss of me. I forgot about that. So the suggestion is telling me to take Anthony Rendon. The fact that Dan, did not take a pitcher either when he was up there makes me pretty comfortable. I'm looking at the pick predictor, which is the chances that somebody is going to be picked before it gets back to me. And it looks like Jack Flaherty, who basically is kind of the last guy for me at the tier. Do I want to get nuts and complain more, Joe? Yeah, I do. In fact, I'm gonna draft Rendon. I'm gonna go no pitchers in my first 3, just in the OBP format. I love Rendon. I'm just gonna go with him. So now we come back. It is back to me. I was kind of hoping Brandon Woodruff might last a little bit. I do enjoy him.
There's one pitcher on the board I still think is a bona fide ace.
Okay. Personally. Well,
actually, maybe you could break the case for 2 of them.
Okay, well, my guess is that I like the guy who is not that guy, but I am a big, but I ain't afraid. All right. Dan Harris don't care. I'm going to go with Zach Gallen, who is a guy who I love. No, fantastic. Yeah. Wonderful. And again, you take out the wins a little bit, makes him a little more attractive because Arizona, don't know how many wins he's going to get over there with them. So makes him a little more attractive in a quality start league. It is back to you, Joey P.
That is a quality start league and a quality pick there. I like this.
Thank you. I love it. I'm not complaining yet. See, I'm happy.
You are. So far, you've rolled the dice and you like it. And I like the
Give me time.
Let's get nuts Michael Keaton moment from original Batman. I enjoyed that quite a bit. Also, we have the draft strategies setting now that you could put in different draft strategies into this draft wizard, and it'll suggest certain players based on this. Like if you want to, get your pitching later or, go for hitting or things like that, how, punt saves, all these different things you could possibly do on there. For me now, as I'm talking, I should probably stop talking and I should probably draft.
It's true.
Been saying that for years.
Good rule for you generally.
That is definitely true. A good rule for me generally. I am going to go ahead here and what the heck? You know what? Let's take the big boy here. Let's go and do it.
That is the correct pick for me, man. That is it. In an OBP league, Aaron Judge, absolutely. I think that's the right move.
You know what? I've got a lot of Aaron Judge, so it's sink or swim. I hope the Pilates and the yoga pay off. I hope it's the one
they have for me.
And I meant for me. Yeah, I was gonna
say perfect physical condition.
Yeah. Speaking of perfect physical condition, Stratford, you're on the deck.
Yeah, this is a tough spot for me. But to the point, I am zigging as everybody zags and goes pitching early. So I get to this point in the draft, I have to make a choice. Am I going whole hog and going late rounds? That's right, I said it. Late round pitcher,
whole hog.
Or am I trying to make up some space here? I'm going to take one pitcher and one batter because I had the back-to-back picks. I can't believe he's become the pitcher he has, but Lance Lynn is just a guy that is so regularly underrated. I think his ADP is right. And by the way, unsolicited, this is awesome. Like, I haven't been in this setup on Fantasy Pros before. So if you don't use it
into the wizard, well, welcome to Hogwarts, my friend.
But Lance Lynn's just been so good and his numbers are so consistent. Quality start again is a big move there. And I'm going to get a little spicy here because I just love this guy. I know, Joe, you do too. I'm going to go for it with a little utility, with a little Nelson Cruz action here.
I almost did it instead of Aaron Judge.
Right. And I think Aaron Judge is the right pick between those two, the spot we're at. But Nelson Cruz just keeps doing it. And I know I'm an ageist but for Max Scherzer, but Cruz I'll keep drafting until he's 55. It's fine.
And the problem is at the turn, if you want Cruz, you have to take him there, right? That's the thing, right? So that's how it works. Sorry.
Yeah, and I'm with you before you're talking about picks. 6 through 9 is where I want to be. Like that.
Yes,
that's sort of that sweet spot for me.
Yep.
I'm happy. The turns, I'm on the turn in Raz Slam, and it is killing me. Like it's just consistently watching my queue go flying by.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to take a player with dual eligibility. That way it leaves me a little bit more flexibility here in these next couple. I actually am old enough to remember 2 years ago where Gleyber Torres hit 30-plus home runs.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think he's a superstar, and I'm not going to worry too much about 2020 and the injuries. So I'm going to take Gleyber Torres here. So it's a lot of Yankees, and I don't know if it's just because Dan's in this room. By the way, one thing you should know, Harris, about Stratford, he plays fantasy and draft ways the way I am good at pool, which is if you have a couple beers, all of a sudden I become amazing.
It's my golf game.
Okay. And Dan Stratford's the same. All of a sudden, like 2-3 beers in, Dan Stratford's the greatest drafter ever. We were in a home league together for 20-something years. After that, it becomes hilarious. And it's, again, this is the SAT analogy.
It is St. Patrick's Day when we're recording. I should have thought of that.
Oh, that's true. That's very true. That's very true. All right, so I'm going to go with Kenta Maeda here. I am uncomfortable with the pitching, as you know, Joe, already. Like my first 3 picks being offense, it's, clearly I'm under the weather, not feeling it right now. So I have to change things up. Let me see. I've got the third baseman, I've got the shortstop, I've got an outfielder, I've got 2 starters. Let's see who the suggestions, the experts are telling me. Corbin Burns. I do love me some Corbin Burns with the strikeouts. And in fact, I have Strasburg slightly higher though with the calf thing that he's dealing with. I'm just going to take Burns. I'm going to, even though I've waited on starter, I'm happy then to go in my 4 through 6, Gallen, Maeda, and Burns. So I feel more comfortable with it. No complaining by me. Back up to Joey P.
All right. So here we go. The question is, do I roll the dice with Jordan Alvarez or do I go safe? And you know what? So far, if I already got Aaron Judge, I feel like, what am I doing? I might as well just do it, right? If we're going to go in for a penny, in for a pound, let's go. I mean, yeah, I'm going to need some stolen base at some point, but you know what? I like the pitching. I like the 2 aces that I have here. So let me get some more power because there's one thing you could just never have enough of. It's power. And I think Alvarez is a player that, if he is right, that is a incredible player. And guess what? I just got the little, not 1, not 2, but 3 claps from the draft wizard telling me that is a steal. So 1, 2, 3. Those are my 3 claps right there.
I'm still waiting for my first one ever in one of our mock drafts, a clap to say, way to go. You did not. Now, the one good thing about Alvarez, by the way, is, again, because of the eligibility is based on a bunch of sites and Yahoo's a little loose, he is eligible in the outfield. So that is good for this. Sorry, didn't mean to take away from Stratford. What do you got?
So here's the question for drafting this year. League of Leagues, stuff like NFBC and Rad Slam. I'm staying away from early closers. I'm trying to find random arms at the back of the draft to build up my save separately. In a single league, a redraft, I'm going to draft a Chapman, maybe a Diaz a little earlier. So I went with Chapman there. Obviously, all the peripherals are great if he's on, right? If he's healthy, things are good to go. And I'm going to follow the Dan Harris school book here, and I'm going to get the one pitcher I really like at this point in the draft, and that's Sonny Gray. I think Sonny Gray is just, again, a quality start, ERA, whip guy that I can trust over and over again.
He does have the back spasms. I assume you're not worried about it, though, right?
The thing, I mean, I have back spasms, but
we all. I mean,
I'm not like injuries right now. It's so hard to get a read in spring training. It's so hard to get an actual like Carrasco. I'm fearful of once you start talking about an elbow and that sort of stuff. Strasburg, I'm less concerned with the calf, so I try to weigh them as best I can. But I'm going to take Gray and hope he gets a nice massage every 5th day.
Nice. Well, I can tell you,
I'll provide it. I mean,
if anybody loves Sonny Gray enough to give massages, Dan Strafford. I know that.
I'm for hire.
You know what? I give you credit because you drafted him in Cincinnati when no one else would touch him in our home league. I remember, and you reaped all the benefits. I'm gonna go with first base here and take the last guy that I like, who I think is being just forgotten. Paul Goldschmidt's being forgotten.
Yeah.
Nolan Arenado's there for some lineup protection now. First base has its issues because eventually you start sacrificing one thing for another. And I don't like to do that. I like to stay a little balanced here. I'm light in saves. I'm aware of this. I am also light in stolen bases, aware of that. But I'm going to try and hopefully make up for that with these next few peaks. So that puts Dan Harris, the other Dan, no lesser Dan, equal Dan, on the clock.
Yeah. Okay. I'm fine. Everything's fine. So it is suggesting that I take my favorite player in the world, but now he's everybody else's favorite player in the world, who is Kyle Hendricks. I'm not going to do that right now, even though because Maeda is not a huge strikeout guy. You know, I will take Hendricks if it's right, but I really need to feel comfortable with my strikeouts. I'm going to take another guy who I end up with in most drafts. Joe, we know outfield, as much as it's like, well, it's so deep, you can do whatever you want. I love Nick Castellanos. I'm just going to take him here, get some solid production. The batting average was artificially low, as it was with pretty much everybody in Cincinnati last year. So I am going to make that pick. And now it's back to me. And now I'm thinking about what the genius Strafford said, because it is the suggestion of Edwin Diaz here. Now, Edwin Diaz scares me to no end because we are Mets fans. Joe Strafford, I assume you're not a Mets fan.
I mean, he's a Yankee fan.
Oh, good. All right. So you know what I'm talking about. The guys who are at the top of my board are, infielders who I feel pretty decent about right now. Whether or not I'm going to go for the Giancarlo Stanton, I'm just going to, I don't usually do this either, but I'm going to go with kind of the early closer guy, lock in my number one, lock in the strikeouts, and I'm going to go with Edwin Diaz here. See how that looks. And again, that's one of the beauties of this. Now, we're doing a multi-user draft, so it takes a little longer. We're talking through it. But if I'm doing it myself, it would take me 5 to 10 minutes to run through this entire thing in the draft simulator. So I could say, let's see how it looks. We're going to find out at the end of this one. But if you do it yourself, you can do it in 10 minutes, see how different roster permutations look for you. So back to Joe here.
Love the permutations and the permutations.
Thank you.
So many mutations.
So many.
And Dan is such a big Yankee fan. So, Harris, he actually is the creator of the hip hip Jorge chant, self-proclaimed creator of that chant. Yes.
Is this true?
True story.
True story. And he also has pinstriped underwear. Also true story.
My God.
I mean, are we doing that now? Or
yeah,
you didn't? Oh,
I think I just did it. I mean,
I thought it was show and tell time. I didn't know.
well, we're trying to keep it a family show.
It's not that kind of stream.
That's the one thing we're going to do here. All right. Tough one for me. I'm going to go with a guy that the more we talk about him, the more I like him. It's Ian Anderson. I just see some upside in this guy. And it says it's a slight reach, but you know what? I'm willing to make that slight reach here. So it gave me this face, this emoji face, which is kind of like,
not a reach, Joe. I would have. He was the guy who I was thinking about taking instead of Diaz. I love Anderson this year. Yeah, I honestly, again, we talked about him a little bit. Somebody who, like Ian Anderson, is the type of guy who I never ever draft. Just not my type of guy. Like a young kid, kind of control issues, like comes up. But I dug into it and I was like, oh, I love every single part of what I see here. So I love that pick. I would take it. I love Dan Strafford's pick here as well. So go ahead, Dan.
I mean, again, Joe said it about the first base position. I've been waiting a lot in drafts, and I end up with Votto, who in OBP, obviously, we'll get to that later on, talking about the late round OBP guys. But Rizzo's just a guy I have confidence in to give me the stats I need, and it drops off a bit for me from there. I do want to point out the machines here took Sixto Sanchez a while back, which sort of stood out to me as a spring training hype guy, but there's also the innings limits and all of that stuff. Second pick. This is tough here. This is where I get into that sort of scary moments. And I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have some fun. I'm gonna get some upside, and I'm gonna draft Zach Wheeler. I know people didn't love him going to Philadelphia, but I'm now building a middling rotation. I don't really have that top end, but I'll build.
Can you explain the strikeouts drop last year? Are we just like throwing that out completely, or what? What was that?
2020. I'm trying my best to level set of things were strange. Like things were just out there.
Okay.
Velocity seemed fine.
Yeah.
Looking over on Baseball Savant and Brooks Baseball, all of his pitches seemed fine.
The contact was like so weak.
Yeah.
Like nobody could, I don't know if that was intentional
that's
or
the
what
thing.
it was.
I haven't read anything Wheeler saying it was, but I'm confident in his, again, all the numbers. I'm not looking for high strikeouts from him. I'll try to take some relievers that give me some high upside there. So I'll go for basic.
I love it. Very basic.
I'm going to go with some runs scored here and hope this guy has a big year in a contract year. Plus, it's also an OBP league. And he's a guy who can put up a 380 plus OBP, and that's Chris Bryant. So it's actually one of the few times I've taken Bryant, but once again, this is what you do, and you have to study your format. Dan and I are always on every show Dan and I ever talked about, know your format, exploit your format, understand it, understand why that changes player value, and that the league you're in and the format you're in dictates the player value, sometimes even more than the player's talent themselves. And it's something that I know Dan and I have always driven home. Dan Harris, you are now on the clock. Perez, Will Smith, Jeff McNeil. A little catcher run there, which obviously I will avoid.
Yes, we know. No catcher until basically you are forced to. The draft wizard yells at you to say you must actually do this. I took Max Muncy. Again, I love the position flexibility here. I was eyeing Correa, the whispers of maybe leading off. I kind of gambled that he might make it back to me. Pick Predictor said it was a little less than, a 50% chance. So I was thinking about going there. So now I'm on the clock and I realized now that I was like, well, I'll probably just take Correa on the way back. So now I'm like, well, okay, 36 seconds. I've got to figure it out. Now, Muncy gives me a lot of position flexibility. I could go with another starter here. There's nobody that I absolutely love. You know what? Actually, I am going to take a guy who, look, as an old human myself, and this might be a little reachy here, I'm going to take Charlie Morton, who I think has got one more year left in him. Saw the velocity come back after he recovered from the shoulder stuff. I saw it in the postseason. So again, my staff is decent, but doesn't have like that real ace guy. So I'm going a little earlier on the closer and a little earlier on my fourth starter. So I will take my guy, Charlie Morton there.
So mad about that. So mad.
Good. That makes me feel good.
Lined up, ready to go. This is the first one I've done. This is surprisingly the first league, real or fake, that I don't have Charlie Morton.
Oh, wow.
So
yes.
This is very, very disappointing. Well, because, 200 strikeouts are going to be there. They're
going to be there for a lot of people, though.
Yeah, but you know what? Will the innings be there for a lot of people?
That's a good point.
And I believe in the Charlie Morton innings over his career. And I think that last year's slow start was just because of the stop and start. And by the time he got right,
and he had a shoulder thing, man. It was the velocity was out. And the other thing, by the way, I like about Morton is, and this is one thing I think about with veteran pitchers. And sorry, Joe, I know you got to pick with veteran pitchers like this. Morton's been retiring every year for the last 8 years, so it doesn't really matter. But I do feel like
it's fine.
They're going to be a little more
Favre of baseball.
The teams are going to be a little more willing to let them go, as opposed to being like, man, well, we've had the weird year last year. Nobody threw innings. We got to protect them. Like Morton, what is he leaving on the table at this point? Just let it all go out. So I think the innings might be there, assuming that he's healthy. Joe, go ahead. You made your pick, and now Dan's making his pick.
A little bit of stolen bases there, a little outfield with Tommy Pham. I also got the slight reach. I got the same, kind of cross-eye emoji where it's like, well, I don't know, Joe. You really think that's the best idea? It's probably the same look that, your wives give you when you get dressed in the morning and you walk outside. Correct. Like, oh, you're going to wear that shirt? That's probably what you get there. And then Dan Strafford, wrong Dan. I hate when I get my Dan's
Get it together.
He stays on brand with the Will Myers, another Dan Strafford favorite, and followed by a Joe Pisapia favorite of Ian Happ.
Somebody said it before, position eligibility here mattered to me, like trying to find a balance of multiple position eligibility guys so I can mix and match this time in the draft is pretty big for me. So both Happ and Myers give that to me.
All right. Oh, God, I hate doing this. I don't want to do it, but I'm going to. I think this is the point where I'm going to start to take a closer. So
all right.
Ryan Presley. I think he's a good value there, good peripherals. I don't think anyone's going to challenge him realistically for that job. So safe, boring. I'll probably hate myself in a round for making that pick, but we'll see what happens.
Yes, I hate you now for making the pick. Not that I was eyeing him necessarily. Okay, so let's see here. My roster looks fine. I've got Muncy, Turner, Rendon, Harper, Castellanos, and 35 pitchers. So that is fine. I need a little more offensive firepower. Muncy can go anywhere. I like the position. You know what? why not? Right? Why not? Oh, this is only 1% chance that he would be taken. So maybe I will.
Amazing thought process right now.
It is.
It went from, you know what, I'm going to, perhaps I won't. I don't know. I'm going, no.
Okay.
No, I've stopped.
Correct. That is how I feel. All right. I'm actually going to throw a little curveball here. I'm going to take, I don't know if he's the suggested player because I try to leave it on the board. No, it's McCullers. I'm not doing McCullers. I'm going to do instead Marcus Simeon, a guy who's going to bat second in, Dunedin. Joe, have we settled on that? Dan, do you know how it's pronounced?
Dunedin.
Dunedin? Is that actually how it's pronounced?
I have no idea.
All right, I'm going with Dunedin. Okay. Now I'm going back. The other guy, by the way, I was thinking about taking there, which almost made it all the way back to me, was Byron Buxton. So he was the guy who
was next on my list.
I was looking, but you know what? This is something the pick predictor made it seem like it was highly likely that he would make it back. So almost. So you make the gambles there. Okay, I am going to continue to go with in an OBP league, especially. I love this guy in an average league, in an OBP league. I need a first baseman. I'll move Muncy to second. It's Rhys Hoskins for me. If that's the guy who you're thinking, it's not your guy. See that you were like, yes, that's the guy I want. And I'm like, no, I'm taking a totally random dude. Rhys Hoskins for me, who's higher on my board. Look, I love Rhys Hoskins. If you take out the August of 2019, after which he got hit by the hand and he totally went down, he is a guy who's going to bat like in the mid 240s. A bunch of homers, but in an OBP league, the guy walks nonstop. So he adds extra value there. So I am going with Rhys Hoskins with my round 12 pick. Back to you, Joe.
Yeah, look, I'm going to tell you this much. I watched Byron Buxton this weekend take a few at-bats. Looks very good. It's only spring training, yes, but you know what? At the same time, I think it is very important to recognize certain players. Spring training is more important than others. So, I think for him, it is. And I'm really furious right now because I think another guy that I wanted on my queue might have gone. Oh, no, wait, he's still there. He's still there. And you know what? Once again, this is just a straight runs and stolen base pick. Buxton's gone, which means I have to take my guy, Victor Robles.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's going to give me the reach. Oh, there it is. Oh, my God. Reach alert. It gave me this emoji where it's just like intense teeth.
If you're not, first of all, you have to, we talk about it, you have to reach regardless. Also, reach is in the eye of the beholder, but you have to reach regardless at the turn. Because like we said, like Cruz, if you wanted Cruz there, Dan, he was never come back to you. Right. There's no way. So you've got to quote unquote reach, whether or not it would be called that. If you want your guy, and this is the guy, I love this guy as well. I'm going to have a lot of shares. Go ahead, Dan, explain it.
Well, I'm a Gallo fan. At some points during fantasy drafts, I do like drafting players I like to watch. And that's not an analysis. It's just, I enjoy watching him play baseball. I do believe he's changed his launch angle. Like he's talked specifically about how he's approached hitting this year. I think the average will creep up a little bit. I think the home runs will still be there. I think it will be a lot of fun to watch. The guy I thought you were going to take before, I don't think I can take, but being it's an OBP league, I'm very intrigued by Carlos Santana at this point in the draft. But I already have Rizzo, I have Myers, I have enough first base happening and other needs. So I'm going to go, if this guy, and I hate using this phrase because if he can stay healthy, I love Aaron Hicks. As a player in the middle of that Yankee lineup, playing 150 games, they're going to be runs scored, home runs. I think the average will be fine. It's just, can he stay on the field, right? And that's not real analysis, right? Oh, he's injury prone. But I at this point, I'm going to, again, take an outfielder with immense upside.
Did you get the reach alert? That's my question.
I'm not getting alerts in that way. I don't know if
I haven't gotten an alert yet. That just means that you're drafting so perfectly, Dan. Okay, that's all that means. I haven't gotten an alert yet. Only Joey P.
Alert. I got the steal alert, and I got 2 reach arounds. I got a steal alert and something else. That's what I got. Those are the alerts that I got here, which is. Again, we're having fun here.
What happened to a family show?
This is
I had to reach around to get that player. Please. Oh, stop! You guys are the worst. You
have like 10 seconds. Make your pick.
Ramon Laureano. Yes, I've got a ton of outfielders, but you know what? I want another guy who could steal some bases. So I tried to make up the stolen base deficit that I had on my team. There's some pitchers on the board I like, but you know what? I feel like they're all kind of the same, whereas this is the last guy here for me that I feel comfortable with.
Yep.
And looking at it, it gives me an outfield where I've got Tommy Pham, Ramon Laureano, I've got Victor Robles. So there's a lot of guys out there now that can give me some stolen bases and kind of make up that deficit I started with. And at least I can pinpoint that. I can't pinpoint pitching performances, but stolen bases and offensive players I would think are better investments if you can't see a separator in the pitchers.
All right, so I ordinarily I'd be looking at Tommy Edman mostly because of his position flexibility, but I have like every middle infield part covered. Like they're like, you can't take any more of these people, please. but I still have a corner. I still have utility. I'm going to take a guy who I feel like I don't know when it happened that I completely came around on, but it's Brian Hayes. And maybe I'm buying into too much. Ooh, slight reach alert. Not the Joey P reach alert. I'm going to go for the giant reach alert right here. I guarantee you. Here's a guy who basically I've done some draft champions leagues. I've done a couple of other things. Every time like the ADP is like, all right, I've got 4 more rounds I could wait for this guy, and he's always off the board. And I think it's because of his nice spring. So I'm just taking my guy this year, Marcus Stroman, who I think is in for a giant year. Maybe would have made it back to me. Probably would have. I didn't get the reach alert. It was only an 11% chance that he would have been selected, but I have basically missed out on him in the last 4 drafts that I've done, and I'm not even taking the chance right now. So I'm taking him. I think a huge year. He's going to be on every one of my teams if I can make it happen. Back to you, Joe.
That's very much staying on brand for you. I know you're.
We are nothing if not true to ourselves.
Look, this is important. I mean, if you keep hearing the same names, there's reasons why, and you can see the slight adjustments we're making too, because it's OBP. You know, I made an adjustment in Chris Bryant. Dan and Dan both made certain adjustments because of what they felt more comfortable with. I need a pitcher here. I need a 4th guy. And I just like the upside here, and I like what Cleveland has done with all their pitchers in terms of development. I think Aaron Savali has another tick to go in his development, so I'm going to go there. It says it's a slight reach. It says 100% chance it would have made back, but you know what?
Well, come on, Dan, would you have taken Savali? No. Would you? All right, so there was a 100% chance that don't mess with the big predictor.
What? I mean, again, it's only Dan that I have to worry about taking these guys, and you know what? Like, it's
don't do it.
What am I supposed to do? I mean, it's not like 100%. It's 1 pick. It's literally 2 more players that have to wait for me. Okay. So. I
want Dan to explain, to talk about this pick that he just made here, because I really like it, and I don't know why he's lasting as long as he is in drafts. So I want you to talk
recency
about it.
bias.
He's not the closer.
Well, it's like
say who it is, by the way.
Bullpen, Nick Anderson, right? So the bullpen by committee, whoever they slot in, I just think he's an elite talent, and so cream rises to the crop, whatever phrase you want to use.
I think by the end, rises to the crop.
Yes,
yeah.
Okay, I just want to point that
malapropism. Is that what that's called?
He takes 2 things and he combines them. You're on the
Stratford. You got 10 seconds.
I'm gonna make a pick. I'm going to make a pick, and I'm going to do something I don't want to do, but I love it.
More metaphors. You can mix more metaphors like Welsh, where he takes 2 things.
This man out of Coors Field, and he is a Cy Young candidate. So I will take the half the season he's not pitching in Coors Field.
Well, he also could be dealt. I mean, right?
That's my hope.
They could just get rid of everybody on that team. So it is
except for Trevor Story.
It's just Trevor Story, who will be there forever and be a fantasy goodness. All right, Joey P, you're up. I like Savali, by the way, Joe. I know you've been pumping him a lot in the spring. I have not really been on him. The more I'm digging into him, looking at him this spring, especially, I'm buying in. I'm buying it a little bit more.
Well, I mean, like I said, if this comes from the DFS plays where I would use him in certain circumstances, and he was fantastic, and he had like 1 or 2 blow up starts, but other than that, he was pretty solid for the most part. I'm going to take another pitcher on a bounce back here. Once again, I'm just trying to compile strikeouts. I'm taking Eduardo Rodriguez. I know it's going to give me the reach alert. There it is. I'm okay with this because I need the depth. 2 years ago, this guy threw 200 innings. He's got back-to-back years of 3.8 ERA. The FIP is right around there, so it's not like the 3.8 ERA is a giant mirage.
Right.
And I just feel like as long as he's healthy, and so far in spring he is, once again, spring is important for some players, not all. It's important for Eduardo Rodriguez, and he looks good in spring. Therefore, he looks good on my team, which brings us to Dan Harris with the 15th round, pick number 8.
Yeah, I hate being boring and taking guys that we talk about all the time, but it is Trey Mancini here for me. It's a guy who I'm going to probably get the reach alert. Let's see if I get it. Low reach alert. Anybody? Yes. An 89% chance that he would come back. I'm not wasting the 11%. Okay. I'm not taking that chance right there. I'm going for it. Okay. So now I'm looking.
I had really no others. I had one spot where I could put Mancini, but he was next on my list, so it's a good thing you did.
No, I mean, I need outfielders right now. I've still got 2 left to go. Obviously, there's no real, as much as I love, there is one pitcher, actually, and after just about to be like, I'm not taking a pitcher, I think I am going to take my guy, especially since I don't have to worry about his wins. I loved reintroducing the slider last year. It's Tyler Mahle. So I am taking Mahle here to be my 6th, 5th, 9th, 12th starter, whatever we have. It's fine. Also, by the way, if you were watching on YouTube, you could see I clicked the categories tab just to see how I'm looking, generally speaking, with my average. My offense is pretty strong right now, just in terms of what everybody is averaging. Could use a little more in sort of the quality start. So I like Malley there. I think he's going to have a nice year, especially when I don't have to worry about the wins. Back to you, Joe.
Not every pick is sexy. Some are just solid. And Carlos Santana is a guy that offers you some power.
Yep.
Probably 85, somewhere in that. I think this Royals lineup is a lot better than people realize. And a bounce back from him. I know he's older. I don't expect 30-something bombs. If he gets 25, 85, and gives me a nice OBP, which he is known for, that's where I'm sliding him in. And, wouldn't you know it, the 3 claps are back. 1, 2, 3.
Loved it.
A steal for Joey P. Thanks to the Wizard. I love you, Wizard. You and I are back together again.
There are like a handful of guys. There are a handful of guys that if you're in an OBP league versus a batting average league, or just like in another stratosphere, and Santana is certainly one of them. So great pick that late.
All right,
Santana's definitely up there. Yeah, this is where I need a beer.
It's St. Patty's Day, man. Get in on it.
It's just bad. I can't believe I'm drafting him. People have convinced me he's going to have a big year. John Means is a guy that I have enough respect for at this stage in the draft that I'm not overly angry about having to draft him, but he is still an Oriole.
Slightly angry.
Well, they've just screwed up so many starting pitchers. Like they've screwed up so many starters.
If you think about it, you probably can't name another starting pitcher in their rotation, so they can screw up all those guys, and then Means could be the one success story, and that's where it goes.
And now I'm gonna go way off the board. I'll probably get yelled at by Fantasy Pros here. And again, for anyone watching, I'm here to shill, but this whole process is awesome. The way all the bells and whistles are here, but also all the information that's readily available to you while you're drafting.
You see, I'm gonna free plugs, everybody.
Well, it's just great. I know he's not the closer. I know he's not.
Still good ratio.
He's gonna be the closer. Like, there's no way Mark Melanson's lasting. There's no way.
I don't know. We've said that for the last 17 years with Melanson. So I don't know. But I look, at that point, and you've drafted Anderson and Pomerantz, right? 2 guys who, at the very least, are not going to be the sole guy to get saves on their team. But their ratios are going to be awesome.
I'm going after Devin Williams a lot too. Now, he went a little earlier than I expected here, but Devin Williams is another name that I have sort of with a pin in it of
good quality innings. Like, at least get quality innings. If you can't get, good multiple innings, get good quality innings at least. I went real quick there and took Amir Garrett because I do believe he's going to be the closer and never look back from that job in 2021. So I got the reach alert, and I knew that I would, and I'm at peace with this. But once again, I got needs, and we got back together for like one round, Draft Wizard and I, and we were getting along, and then it was right back to
do what you gotta do, man.
Screwed up. So
all right, I'm taking. I'm sorry that sometimes we talk about the same guys over and over, but I mean, this is who I would draft, and it is Austin Riley, who I love and is outfield eligible in this one. I need more outfield. Only Austin Riley, correct. 83% chance. I don't mind reaching. That's fine. Whatever you say. Okay, so I am looking right now, and there aren't any pitchers on my board right now that I really kind of want, and I have a million pitchers anyway. So Joe, I'm going to be right in line with the Draft Wizard here. Draft the suggested guy for us. 91% of experts agree that right now I should be drafting the bounce back change of scenery guy, formerly of Boston Red Sox, now of the Kansas City Royals.
Nice.
Andrew
Very nice.
Benintendi at a little speed. I know we have our guys. I know sometimes, we've done a million of these podcasts, Joe. So sometimes it feels like we're talking about the same guys over and over. But as you mentioned, there's a reason that we do it. If there are guys that we like, Benintendi right now in the 18th round of a 12, I will do that all day, every day.
Absolutely.
Right.
Look, the outfield, there's some guys that you can make up some ground with and take some shots on. I happen to hit that middle really hard. Usually guys like Pham aren't usually on my team, but I just went after that stolen bases, almost like 3 out of 5 picks there with outfield. And I'm going to go after some more stolen bases. And Ahmed Rosario was told, hey, kid, why don't you go out there and play center field? Which means Andres Jimenez is probably going to be the starting shortstop. So I'm going to take 20 stolen bases here, get a little shortstop. Yes, I understand Wizard. I understand it's a reach alert, but if I'm going to make magic in this Wizard, sometimes I've got to put myself out there and make sure that I've studied all my potions and all my other things going on there and make sure that I am ready for all this. So
it's not an actual Wizard. I just want you to know that. Like, not doesn't have magic.
What?
Like, just the Draft Wizard.
All right, I'm out of here.
No.
Like this.
See you later, man. By the way, I love Jimenez, and I feel really bad for Ahmed Rosario, who made 3 errors in center field. I feel bad, but Jimenez is a guy. Again, yesterday I redid my rankings just to create the cheat sheet, and I moved Jimenez way up because I do think that job is his. He's got a lot of speed. Doesn't hit the ball very hard, but he's got a lot of speed. So I like that pick
cheat sheet again, Harris?
The cheat sheet creator?
Yeah.
Hey, you want me to do it?
Your
hey, yo!
Okay, I just want to make sure
that's pretty good, right? I feel like that. I feel like
you might have strained something there.
I did.
I think you
again, I'm a hero. I'm powering through. Anyway, go to your picks.
Now day to day for the rest of the week. Stratford, you're up for 2.
Give me some Big Maple. James Paxton. I bounce back. I'm going to take him for the upside, the strikeouts, and Chris Taylor I went with, and I got the claps. They liked me finally. Said it was a steal.
Just to be clear, there was an S on the end of that. Because you said it so quick. I just want to make sure everybody heard it.
Claps. Yes, the claps. Joe is desperately trying to give our show an R rating right now, so he and I are going to be having a little bit of a discussion right as soon as this podcast ends. I'm just putting that out there.
The issues.
You're up, Joey. All right, relax. Keep it clean. You need, according to the roster, I'm looking at your roster. If you go to youtube.com/FantasyPros MLB, you can see Joe's roster. Looks like you need a middle infielder and some pitchers. And
I know I got a big reach alert, but I don't care because this guy's been dominant in spring, and I think he's going to definitely have a rotation spot. It's Domingo Hermona of the Yankees. Once again, spring is important for some. It's important for him. I think he's done everything you could possibly ask to get that rotation spot. I understand why people have issues about drafting him, and that's fine. It's supposed to be fun, so if it's not fun for you, that's okay. My job is to get people wins, and therefore I'm trying to do that. And I just think in the 19th round, you could do worse than a 5th starter on the Yankees.
Yep. All right, I'm going to take a guy who's also been rising up our board. Joe introducing the new pitch, Eleazar Hernandez. I know, we heard about what Mish has said about him, so I like him. The other guy I was thinking about, and I kind of hoped that he would make it back, and he did. And he's not sexy, okay, at all. But he does walk at like a 14% clip. He's going to bat at the top of the Oakland A's lineup. I feel like people are dinging him a little bit too much for last year after his quote unquote breakout 2019, when realistically he kept the walk rate in an OBP league. I will take that. It's Mark Canha, who's just going to slide into my utility role. And again, you're focusing a little bit more on OBP. I think there are some values that you can get in this type of draft. And that's a guy who's not going to wow you. Jared Kelenic went right before, something like that. I was thinking about Kirilloff, who I really like, this year to kind of break out. But I'll go boring and go with Canha.
Yeah, I sometimes boring is good. I know.
That's my life philosophy.
Boring is good. All right, so I still need a middle infield guy. So I'm looking now at the Elvis Andrus bounce back. Do I go with Paul DeYoung and some power? And you know what? It's telling me it's the top lift. I want to get back together with Draft Wizard. Draft Wizard and I have had a very tumultuous relationship during this hour. We've done some highs and lows, and I think after some therapy, I'm going to go and I'm going to listen. We're going to communicate, and Paul DeYoung and I are going to get together here, and I'm going to top lift, and hopefully, yes, oh my God, the 3 claps are back. 1, 2, 3, a steal for Joey P. So I feel so much better now. I need that immediate Draft Wizard validation sometimes.
Right, obviously.
It makes you feel good and warm and fuzzy inside. Dan Stratford, you are now on the clock for 2 picks.
I go with a Rays pitcher here. Ryan Yarbrough is just consistently a good pitcher. He doesn't give up home runs, doesn't walk people. I know there's questions about how many innings he's going to throw this season, but I feel like that's almost every starting pitcher or pitcher altogether. So I'll take Yarbrough for a bench spot at this point, as I'm still filling out catcher, corner infielder, and outfielder. I will. The COVID scares me, but let's do it because he's fun. I'm going to take Mr. OBP himself, Joey Votto. I'm going to reach here, get him on my roster, and get him into that corner infield spot so that I lock up OBP. COVID-19, what's he, 7 days still dealing with the positive test? I haven't seen any new news on him, but hopefully he's better.
By the way, I will say a couple things with Yarbrough. I really love him. I got a little worried because of the quality starts. Not that he gets a ton of wins anyway, but just because what are they going to do? How are they going to get him out there? So that was one thing. And Joe, I will point out the top lift, which you couldn't see because I keep the board. I'm recording the board. You can see the draft board for the most part. Top lift, Draft Wizard will look at your team and see where your weaknesses are and specifically point out the suggestion for a top lift for where you are weakest in the standings and give you the biggest rise in the standings. So just wanted to point that out.
Life too? Can it point out all?
No, not for you. No, not for you. It does not have that power.
Not a development team set aside for that yet. All right, we're going to go with another pitcher here. A guy having a good spring, guy who had a pretty good 2020. Also, Brady Singer, who once again, nice value. And I got a thumbs up here. I'm getting so many emojis. This is great. This is so cool. I've gotten so many different feelings here. It's such an emotional roller coaster doing a mock here, a mud, if you will, on the Draft Wizard with the three of you. And this is great. This is great theater. I'm so glad we're doing this. Dan Harris, you're on the clock now in the 21st round. We're basically getting into that bench guy kind of territory.
I still need one pitcher, although I don't have a second closer, and
I
best
know who
one.
the pitcher's gonna be.
All right, you want it? You can call it out. Go ahead.
It's Michael Pineda.
It is Michael Pineda. It is my top lift. It is the one suggested by 52% of our genius experts. Correct. You're correct, experts. That is the right pick. So I really like that. It is now, look, it is telling me to take a closer, but at this point, like, ooh, if I get Joakim Soria, am I really that excited about where I'm looking at in saves? I was willing to sort of, I took my one guy after this. I will just, pull out whoever I want. So I'm going to, my whole starting lineup is basically filled out except for catcher. And we know that that's not going to go right now. So I am going to take a guy who, it's going to be a reach alert. I understand, but I want Alex Kirilloff on my rosters, whether he breaks camp with the Twins, whether he doesn't. He's not going to be down for 100% chance that Alex Kirilloff would have been there. Well, all right, that's fine. I don't care. Still taking him. I love him. I'm also drafting him wherever I can. I like what I've seen this spring. Go ahead, Joe.
I think what's great about all this too is that, we're making the jokes about, well, it'd been 100% if we waited, but we talk about getting your guys, and ADP, ECR, all these things are guideline. They are not the one and only.
Correct.
I mean, if you look so many players, take a look at the difference between like a Victor Robles last year, who was going in the 4th round of drafts, who is now going, 160th overall. So you have to understand there's this divide of perceived value. And if you perceive a player is going to be that, then you go ahead and you take him. And I perceive Anthony Bass to be the closer of the Marlins. I got a little inside dope on that one. Once again, and it's good to know insiders in Major League Baseball now. It really helps your fantasy stuff. I would recommend really paying attention to some of the better beat writers and people who follow these teams, because they can give you those little nuggets of like who the closer is going to be, who the 4th outfielder on this team is going to be in those deeper leagues,
who the coach hates,
those things, who the coach hates, right?
Boy, there's a 22nd round run on closers here. Perhaps I should have taken Joakim Soria. You've got Greg Holland, you've got Soria, you've got Bass,
but none of them are any good. These are
Dan,
all like
are you taking
dregs.
2 closers back to back here?
I am not. I wanted Hunter Dozier, who went earlier this round.
I was eyeing him for a while.
So 2020, I'm going to chalk up to COVID. And obviously you want to watch and make sure, but this late in the draft, I'm going to go that way. I went to Haniger instead. They gave me the 3 claps. Haniger is another guy I'm expecting to bounce back. I'm trying to balance as much of 2020 with previous expectations and what they might have been in previous stops. Here, I have to figure out what the hell I'm going to do. All right. I'm at a point where I've drafted some relievers, but I don't have a ton of saves. I don't know that there are saves out there as this run just happened. So I'm going to go back to starting pitchers and build out my bench a little further. And I'm going to go for Jake Odorizzi and assume that his stuff is fine. I haven't seen much of his spring mentions.
You can assume he's mediocre.
Exactly.
You can assume that his spin rate is going to go way up and that he's going to have the best season of his career.
His slider is going to be amazing, and there's going to be pine tar everywhere. It's going to be freaking fantastic.
Yeah. Gonna be amazing. Yeah, no, I do like it because people are sort of like, and I've always been like not an Odorizzi guy no matter what. But this is now I'm like, oh yeah, now I'll take it. Now I'll take the shot here. So in the 23rd round, by the way, there are no reaches, okay? There are no reaches.
I can find one, Dan.
I have a question, Harris. So if I take Isaiah Kiner Falefa here, does he qualify a catcher? Because it says catcher 34, but he's not on my queue. So just a clarification here.
I'm trying to keep on the draft board, man. I don't know. Click on him.
I want to ask. I'm gonna take the shot here and see what happens.
Let's see if you can move him. I don't know.
Move him to catcher? That is the question. If so, this is the
you did. It looks like you did. It looks like you did.
I just got an everyday player for all those at bats playing catcher.
And you know why? You know why he is eligible there? Because he once talked to a catcher, and that catcher was like, "Do you want to play catcher?" And he was like, "Yes." And they're like, "Great, you have catcher eligibility on Yahoo."
And that guy runs Yahoo.
Exactly. Okay, so I mean, we're way past the point of speculating on closers, which is fine. I don't care. I'm just gonna go. I'm just gonna keep pounding my bench a little bit here and get some guys. You know what, Joe? He's back. He's I'll talk about that. You know what? Let's go with the unstoppable 30 to 40 homer power of the Red Sox first baseman, Bobby Dahlbeck.
Bobby
Dahlbeck. Slight
By the
reach.
way, just want to throw out there, right before you went, Madison Bumgarner, who I thought for sure would make it back to me.
Yeah.
Because I was under.
Are you buying into
here.
this, by the way?
I'm buying into it because it's still dirt cheap. So if I'm wrong, it's free. It's free to find out. The upside is 200 innings and 180 strikeouts and maybe a 3.9 ERA, and that's great as a fifth starter. The downside is I cut him. He's terrible. Right. So I really can't lose. I like what he has said. I like that he's realizing, he's not the guy who throws 95 anymore. And if he becomes Sabathia, Pedro,
right?
Who can figure that out, then we're in good shape.
So if you were watching on youtube.com/FantasyPros MLB, you could see the draft board. You could see what I was thinking. And I looked at the categories tab, which is up top, and it just sort of says, generally speaking, how you're looking in each of the categories. To the extent there was a weak spot on my offense, it was in speed. So I went that route, a guy that Joe and I like. He's been battling a quad injury, so he's missed some time, but it sounds like he'll be healthy. It is Lorenzo Cain. Even at his advanced age, he should probably be able to, bat at the top of the order, probably throwing double-digit steals. So just somebody there won't hurt me, kind of beefing up my bench right now without worrying about kind of making sure I have the closer or anything like that. So back to you, Joe.
And I don't like pitching right here, so I'm just going to take another guy that, once again, decent spring. Maybe you get a bounce back here. Give me Quintana, just some innings, because that's the one thing this guy can give you is at least innings.
It's your guy.
100% reach alert. Yeah, well, he used to be my guy. I used to love Quintana. But you know what? I've soured on him over the years. When he went to the Cubs, it just hasn't been good. But you know what? Like maybe a new grouping there can get him straight again and get him pitching right. And so far, he looked great this spring, but we'll see what happens.
All right.
Innings, health. Guy, can he go out there and go 190? Yes, he can. And I think that's something you can't find very often. And it's going to be crucial in 2021 to find those kind of guys too, because there are so many innings limits on these guys. It's going to be nuts. Dan Strafford, you got 2 picks here. We're kind of closing out our benches, taking shots on pitchers. I feel like that's kind of where we are.
Yep. There's not much here I love. I will go a little bit of probably a reach. Somebody I've seen some very smart people talk up a little bit of late. And I'll go with Griffin Canning as a bench arm. Somebody, again, to your point, like we're at a point in the draft. If he's terrible, I bring somebody off the waiver and I let him fly. But I think there's enough upside for him this late in the draft.
I love the way he finished last year because I think really was with the injury, he just wasn't letting loose with the slider. When he does, it looks good. He probably won't make it through the season, but I love that pick at 20. Not a reach. I love it there. So,
and that's where the context. I love projections. I love rankings, but the context of why players perform the way they did, and that's why I love Baseball Savant and Brooks Baseball and those other sites where you can dig in. You can get lost there. You can definitely get lost on those sites and maybe dig into the wrong pieces. But I do think contextually they help out. I can't believe I'm drafting him.
Yeah, you can.
It's Rich Hill, isn't it?
Yeah, no, it's Yadier.
Oh, yeah. I love Yachty. He's always
he's a person who plays catcher. Okay,
dude, give me anybody who qualifies a catcher and doesn't play catcher, and I am a happy boy. All right, back to me now. And this guy had a very good 2020, but nobody cares because he's on a terrible team, and it's Eimer Candelario of the Detroit Tigers. Qualifies at first, qualifies at third, gives me a little position flexibility, move some guys around. I like that. That is good, and he's going to be hitting somewhere in the middle of that Detroit order. Next is Dan Harris up, and we are towards the end here. You can see by the names that everybody goes, okay, and this is tough.
I don't really love it. So it wants me to take a catcher, but forget about you, mister. So one of the things you can do if you go to the suggested players, again, go to youtube.com/FantasyPros MLB. You can sort by top players in projected categories. So I need a closer. Okay. Even though I'm going to be out there looking, I need somebody there. And I sorted by projected saves, which is our Zeal consensus projections, which take a bunch of different projected systems. The top guy is Daniel Bard, who I don't expect necessarily to be there forever, but he is going to be the closer, I believe, in Colorado for however long. So I will take him right now. And I will at least say, look at me. I tried saves. I tried. Okay. So I'm looking at the draft board right now. I am going to do suggested players back there because I don't need to. No, I know you want me to draft Carson Kelly, draft wizard. I get it. I don't have a catcher. It's fine. And I probably just will draft because it doesn't really matter. Let's see. Are there any pitchers? Okay. Instead, I will draft a pitcher who I like. Again, I talk about him a lot. Don't give me good luck. Don't give me bad luck. just give me normal luck and let me see what Mitch Keller can do in a starting rotation without like extremes one way or another. And especially, again, this is something, it's a quality start league. It's not a wins league. He won't win many games in Pittsburgh, but he should hopefully get quality starts if he just doesn't completely jump in the trash can. So on to Joe. What do you got?
I'm going to take another player on a bad team that nobody seems to care. Had a really good 2020. He had 10 home runs in 60 games. Drove in 27 runs, scored 28. And he actually has a better minor league track record than people realize. It's Alex Dickerson, another guy who qualifies at outfield. And once again, puts the bat on the ball, and it might not be the most exciting player, but I think a good depth player that I think is going to have everyday at-bats there. So at this point, when I'm looking at bench players, I'm looking at guys that if I do need to fill in, that I'm filling in guys who actually play every day, as opposed to just loading up my roster with a bunch of lottery tickets, because guess what? You're going to have a lot of injuries on your team. This is baseball. It's a long season. Find the depth, use these guys. If you want to take that one guy, that one big time minor leaguer, okay, that's cool.
Right.
But the rest of it, I think it's tricky.
All right. I'm going a little pie in the sky with two players here, Josh Naylor and Garrett Hampson. So Hampson, I hope they trade everyone and Hampson has to play. I know he's not made that big leap, but the steals are there, right? It's elite speed. So I'll take that plunge now. And Naylor's a guy I haven't seen much this spring. But again, the trade to Cleveland, they don't have a lot there. So I think he's going to get the at-bats and have some upside.
I think Hampson there is great, by the way, because again, Rogers hurt his hamstring as well. So that should, I don't know how long he's going to be out, but Hampson should, no matter what the Rockies want to do, if they want to sign a 40-year-old utility player to take at bats from
if
the
they
kids.
Bring, what's his name? The former Met.
For which, where? Give me
for the Rockies. No, I'm saying bring back,
Daniel
what's his name?
Murphy?
Daniel Murphy. Yeah, that's
To play second. Second. That's what they should do, right? That's what it is. Oh, all right. A Joey P special. Absolutely.
A Joey P special. Ty France, more than one position, tearing it up. Good prospect in the minor leagues. Finally, everyday at bats. Yes, please. I'm all for this. And so
all right,
that's a great value here. And I think I've got my grade here, and my grade is a B. 85 out of 100. It's a strong B. There's some notes here. It says, I know we had some issues here, you and I, but for all the reaches that you had and things where you should have had more patience, Joe, I want you to know there were a lot of good steals as well. So it's got like a heart emoji, a bunch of X and O's, a lot of emojis there as well. But
do I have to upgrade? Do I have to upgrade to get that? Is that how this
works? Do you not have your grade? I don't
know.
I
have a B plus. No, I meant all of Joe's.
Yes, I
have
you do.
Yes. Wonderful pros.
I have a very special edition. That costs way extra.
So what did you get, Dan?
A B plus. A B plus.
All right. So what was your actual number? Was it higher than Joe? Is that what we got?
87 out of 100.
Ooh. And you were 85, Joe? Is that what you were?
Was.
All right. Well, I'm the winner.
Oh.
A minus, 91 out of 100. I'm loading up the projected standings right now so we could see. Apparently,
I am terrible.
Yeah, none of us completely crushed this draft, which is fine. I'm projected to finish 4th. Dan, you're 6th. Joe they're creating a new place for Joe, not even in the normal top 12 standings.
Yeah.
I'm
11th.
18th.
I'm 11th.
Yeah, you're 11th.
Overall.
You're 11th.
Okay. And you know what? Here's the funny part is I understand why. I understand because some of the players I took the projectability. Right. Here's the thing about projectability. Projections are based on guys that have usually a good sample size.
Right.
A lot of players on my team, Ty France, Victor Robles, right? I mean, you go through this roster. There's not a lot of guys that have that. And I think you have to understand that if you do your homework and you like the players you've drafted and you believe in the homework you've done, the projections might not love your team. That's okay. It doesn't mean that you were wrong. It just means that you've taken a team that doesn't have a lot of projectability that people feel good about because the sample size isn't large enough. So I just want to quell anybody who, you're doing the wizard, you're taking guys that we talk about, maybe you're getting C pluses or Bs or things like that. You say, why am I at the top? Don't fret about it. Don't worry about it. There's a lot you can still learn from it and actually do quite well still in your leagues.
So two things. One, I shouldn't be buying a magazine day of draft, right? That's not the idea. And just opening it up. Okay.
You can get a black book.
Right. Understood. I've heard it's a good read. I actually bought it this year.
How nice for my friend.
You were the one. Okay, good.
I actually bought it this year.
Yeah.
Says Dan Stratford.
I mean, I wasn't getting it for free, Joe.
I would happily send you one for free. I didn't.
The other thing was
still read.
I don't. I've scanned it. The The other thing was I was really trying hard to work in a Ty France defense Maginot line joke there, but you kept talking, so I just wanted to say that before.
I think that's for the betterment of everyone listening.
So should we run through our rosters real quick and just see where it was if we
start,
did anything wrong?
Yeah,
you want me to start? Okay,
well,
my catcher.
Well, first off, we did nothing wrong. Second of all, run through the roster.
I did many things wrong, actually. So my catcher is just my favorite. It's Tom Murphy. It was whoever was my top ranked catcher in the last round. Of course, this has put my roster in a bizarre sort of position place, so it's going to sound a little weird. But Mark Canha is apparently my first baseman, which was not how I drafted it, but it's fine. It's actually Rhys Hoskins, but it doesn't matter. Mark Canha, Max Muncy, Trey Turner, Anthony Rendon, Rhys Hoskins, Marcus Simeon, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, Trey Mancini, Austin Riley, Andrew Benintendi, and Brian Hayes are my offense. My pitching staff is Zach Gallen, Kenta Maeda, Corbin Burns, Edwin Diaz, Charlie Morton, Tyler Mahle, Marcus Stroman, Michael Pineda, Eleazar Hernandez. My bench is Lorenzo Cain, Alex Kirilloff, Bobby Dahlbeck, Daniel Bard, and Mitch Keller. I like the team. I really do. In a quality start league and an OBP, I don't think I would have changed all that much. Joe, we talk about how I like to go pitcher heavy. It is rare I leave the first 2 rounds without a pitcher. It is really rare I leave the first 3 rounds without a pitcher. I did that here, but it still turned out okay. I kind of
quality start leagues. I think that's
true.
That's a roll of the dice you can take because you don't have to work. You can all of a sudden the pitchers on bad teams get a little bump. You know, the Brady Singers of the world, the guys who you think this might be a pretty good pitcher, but path to the win is difficult. All of a sudden, either Tyler Mahle's another one too. What's that bullpen? I told you that's why I took Aaron Nola where I did because I believe him to be an ace in a quality start league. Whereas I'm worried that could he win 15 games? Ugh, I don't know, man.
I don't think they're going to be that bad. I mean,
it's not them. It's when he hands that lead over to the bullpen.
Yeah.
Of how I mean, they had an 8 ERA in 60 games last year, and all they did
but
was
they added some pieces.
Archie Bradley.
Yeah,
that's
fine.
I'm not sold on those guys. Dan Stratford, are you sold on your team?
I mean, as far as I ever am, yeah, I think it's fine. Listen, looking back, Molina, Rizzo, Happ at second, Seeger at short. Bregman has dual eligibility at third and short. Then I have Votto and Chris Taylor, corner and middle infielder. Taylor, I love where I got him value-wise in all those positions to be eligible for. Acuna, Myers, Gallo, Hicks, Haniger. There be some question marks in my outfield. So that's...
What did you become, an all-time prospector? Just
because I'm scared, Joe.
And then their hills.
Exactly. Nelson Cruz, I love, and we'll take him wherever I can. My pitching, I like a lot, honestly, but there are giant question marks of saves, right? So I have Anderson and Pomerantz. I did go with Chapman as sort of the foundational pick there, but did I waste the equity in not drafting another top flight relief pitcher? Maybe. I think I got the guys I wanted. Outside of Williams out there in Milwaukee, who I do think will have more saves this year than Hader. I really think they're going to use Hader in high leverage. You're going to see 2 to 3 innings from him, and Williams is going to come in with 2 guys on in the 9th and pick up vulture saves left and right. I could be completely wrong, but that's sort of a bold prediction I'm baking into my rankings.
I like
it. Wheeler, Gray, Lynn, Marquez, Paxton, Means, they could be great. They could also be awful. I will also say,
so Stratford, it hurts.
I will also say, I'm the fact that I was able to click back in. I closed this out, click back in, see the analysis, see the draft board. I'm a fan of this Fantasy Pros thing.
Look at you! Look at you!
I've used it before. I don't pay for anything. I don't know if I try to find things for free.
This is true.
But even the free part of this has been really great. So
it's free, man.
Get on, it's free. It's free. Go to
what you're talking about over here. Get on.
There's all these add-ons and
it won't tell you. It won't tell you magic tricks like it did with Joe with the wizard or anything. That's true. That is a paid feature. But,
it's so funny you brought that up, Joe. The wizard stuff, because we did Nora's birthday party on Sunday, and it was a Zoom Harry Potter digital escape room, and we were 2 hours into it, and I was like, I can't do this anymore. We got log off. I was like, I'm reading.
You just left everyone at home.
I did. I was like, guys, we're closing it down. I'm sorry. I'll send you the
down. You're gonna have to stay here for the rest of the semester. All right, my team is Isaiah Kiner Falefel because I cheated at catcher. Paul Goldschmidt at first, Gleyber Torres at second, DeYoung at short, Chris Bryant at third, Carlos Santana at corner spot, Jimenez in the middle infield spot. That's a lot of OBP. Yeah, you know me. I mean, I don't know. Then you got Juan Soto, Aaron Judge, Alvarez, Tommy Pham, Ramon Laureano, and Victor Robles. I like this team. I don't know how this is 11th. I think this is at least 10th. Aaron Nola, Luis Castillo, Ian Anderson, Aaron Savali, Eduardo Rodriguez, Brady Singer. The relief pitchers are Ryan Presley, Amir Garrett. I've also got Domingo Hermona, and then Anthony Bass and Quintana in there, and the rest of the bench is Candelario, Dickerson, and Ty France. So I would definitely go to war with this team, especially in an OBP league. And I want to thank Dan for hopping on today with us and doing this. It was so fun to do this.
Oh, yeah.
I miss this. I miss us getting to hang out. This will not be the last time we have you around, Dan Strafford. I am sure of it. In the meantime, you can follow him on the Twitter machine at Dan Strafford for all of his snarky, fun takes. Dan, anything else you'd like to plug besides how great the Draft Wizard is? Which
I mean, you know, we're pushing the time, and I've plugged everything, and I've learned about Wizard features that I had no idea existed. It apparently will hug you and tell you that you're okay as a comforting
just made
joke.
Me a sandwich right after this this is over. I actually have a sandwich waiting for me.
But I think I'm good. The one thing I will say is that we're pushing an hour 10 here. We did this over an hour or anything like that. You can do them by yourself in the draft simulator. Just go against artificial intelligence with the experts in 5 to 10 minutes. Do a million of them. Back out picks if you don't like the way things worked out. Try a bunch of different strategies. That's my last plug.
And this is fun because I actually asked Dan Strafford to plug his stuff, and Dan Harris plugged his. So now we're even for that time that you said to somebody else, and I was still technically a guest, even though I was here.
True.
As Fantasy Pros, and he said, "No, Joe, not you, you moron. I'm talking to the other guy." So I'm talking to the other guy now.
Which guy? Me?
Strafford.
You want me to plug my stuff? So I wrote. Okay, sorry.
To plug besides the top of your head.
Wrong way. Yeah. Oh, it's bad. It's bad.
It's getting there.
Come
to my world.
Yeah, I've it's happening. Not much. I'm a little bit of a fantasy free agent right now. If anyone needs a host, I'm here. I'm willing. I'm able. Well, I'm mostly able. I'm over on Sports Grid doing top of the hour updates, which is fun. Do it back to my news roots. But yeah, I'm out there on the Twitter sphere being snarky and mostly pessimistic. So if that's sort of your thing, at Dan Strafford, let's have it.
That's your wheelhouse. That's where you go. I want to remind everybody too, thanks to our friends at Pristine Auction, we've got that giveaway at Fantasy Pros as well. So you want to hop on over there as soon as you can. Go to fantasypros.com/MLB contest. You can get involved with that Juan Soto jersey giveaway we're doing. And obviously, of course, you can use this multi-user draft room, use the draft assistant, use the draft wizard. Look how much fun we had. Get together with your friends, do some mocks, get ready for your upcoming drafts. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Dan Strafford and Dan Harris, it's me, Dan Pisapia. No, it's me, Joe Pisapia. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time, kids.
Looking for useful content, fantasy relevant information, and the data that can help your team win? Make sure to subscribe to our Fantasy Pros YouTube channel. And while you're at it, don't forget to follow us over on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Fantasy Pros so you get all the information you need to dominate your leagues all season long.